Supreme Court grants local governments financial autonomy. Meeting between organized labor and President Tinubu on new minimum wage ends in deadlock. Women protest impact of oil spillage in Rivers State amid calls for basic amenities. On the foreign scene, Kenya's President Ruto dismisses almost entire cabinet after deadly protests. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Aisha Salihu. In a landmark judgment this Thursday, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has endorsed financial autonomy for the 774 local governments in the country, putting an end to the abuse of their affairs by the state governors. The Apex Court in the ruling barred the governors from receiving, tampering with, or withholding funds meant for the local governments. Trustee Vesnio Samson, who witnessed the ruling at the Supreme Court, has more.
In the lead judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Akumaye Agim, the Federal Account Allocation Committee was ordered to henceforth pay directly all money standing to the credit of local governments in the country. The governors were also barred from dissolving democratically elected officials for local governments, adding that doing so would amount to a breach of the 1999 Constitution. Some local government officials present at the Supreme Court for the judgment reacted to the Apex Court's ruling.
Finally, freedom has come to the people of Nigeria. Freedom has come to the people. The democracy can now be entrenched in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Our people can now see rapid developments. So we just want to thank God Almighty for giving us a president like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has had the courage to take this step by coming to the proper place to say, let the proper interpretation be made to give life to the third tier.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no winner, there's no loser. The Nigerian people will enjoy the benefits of good governance. I think this has been in the clamor for a long time. It's not personal. What is important is that the people will hold chairmen now more accountable because the funds are going directly to them.
The court decides and rule. The local government autonomy, financial autonomy is granted now. The money from the federation is going direct to the local government account. We have 774 local government. Before, the money used to go joint account, which is unfavorable to the local government to operate. They will not have access to their money.
Similarly, representatives of state governments present at the court also gave their reaction to the Supreme Court judgment.
Their lordships considered the matter and came to a conclusion that although Section 162, so 5 and 6 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria makes provision that money due to local government shall be paid through the joint account, but that provision was considered to be a discretional provision, meaning it can be tinkered with.
We will get the certified true copy of the judgment as a body, the body of State Attorneys General of the Federation. We will study it and then we will come up with our statement on it.
Nigerians are hopeful that with the judgment, more democratic dividends will be delivered at the grassroots where they are mostly needed. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the decision of the Supreme Court affirming the autonomy of local governments in the country. The president, in a statement by his spokesman, Ughelli, said a fundamental challenge to the nation's advancement over the years has been ineffective local government administration, as governance at the critical level is nearly absent. The president emphasized that the onus is now on local council leaders to ensure that the broad spectrum of Nigerians living at that level are satisfied that they are benefiting from people-oriented service delivery. President Tinubu noted that the provision of some essential amenities and public goods, such as the construction and maintenance of certain roads, streets, street lighting, drains, parks, gardens, open spaces, and other residual responsibilities, including community security, has tottered owing to the emasculation of local governments. The President affirmed that the decision of the Supreme Court to uphold the constitutional rights and ideals of local governments as regards financial autonomy and other salient principles is of historic significance and further reinforces the effort to enhance Nigeria's true federal fabric for the development of the entire nation. Negotiations between organized labor and President Bola Tinubu did not come up with a compromise after a 1.5-hour meeting on Thursday. Minister of State for Labor and Employment Nkeruka Onyejocha told newsmen at the State House, Abuja, after the meeting that the status quo of both negotiating sides remained at 62,000 naira for government and 250,000 naira for labor. Kehinde Amodu reports.
These negotiations come off the back of the President's decision at the Cabinet meeting on June 25 to step down deliberation on the new minimum wage to allow for more engagement with stakeholders ahead of a planned executive bill. The report of the Tripartite Committee on Minimum Wage had recommended 62,000 naira minimum wage based on submissions by the federal and state governments and the organized private sector. This is despite reservations expressed by state governors that they might not be able to pay 62,000 naira.
There is 62,000 naira that has been put out there, the government side, the organized private sector, but organized labor is still not accepting that. But we know that they will come to the table, and they have come to the table today. We know that this is going to be something that is going to be workable for Nigerians. The organized labor and government will reach an agreement.
Prior to going in for the meeting, Labour had said that it would stand on its ground for a 250,000 minimum wage. And that, it seems, is exactly what they did.
The Labour Union has asked that government allow them at least a week to consult further. We have allowed them. We are going to reconvene in the next 1 week. And we hope and we believe that at the end of the day, we will have something good for all Nigerians.
The President, it seemed, had made a counter-offer, which clearly did not sit well with the representatives of Labour.
We went in there, we made all the arguments, economic analysis, macro, micro, fiscal and monetary issues. So we put everything forward, and at the end, the President also made his remark as a president. And we all agreed that, okay, let's go back. We internalize it, we have some conversations, and that by 1 week time, we come back and we continue the meeting.
1 week mentioning that we didn't go into Naira and Kobo discussion. Now, the status quo in terms of the amount, 250 and 62,000, remains until we finish this conversation. In real terms, it wasn't a negotiation, it was a discussion. And we have had that discussion. And we agreed to look at the real terms, probably and convene the next 1 week.
For now, the needle has not moved on either side, and it would take advanced negotiating skills to get both sides to come to a conclusion that is agreeable to all. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Also, the Nigeria Labour Congress says that the union and its affiliates across the country are ready to take a bill for a national minimum wage to the National Assembly if President Bola Tinubu fails to do that. During a meeting of the Labour leaders in Kano State, the national president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, asked Nigerian workers to continue to be patient as the union will not relent in its efforts to get them a wage that is commensurate with the challenges of modern-day Nigeria. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin was at the meeting and now reports.
Brought together by the Northwest Branch of the Medical Health Workers Union of Nigeria, these labor leaders are meeting in Kano to evaluate the contributions of their members in the struggle for freedom and improved welfare for the Nigerian workers.
National President of Medical and Health Workers Union.
But beyond this is the struggle for the national minimum wage, and these workers say they will not lose hope, no matter the difficulty, and they will never submit themselves to frustration because they believe there is victory in the struggle for their members.
We can no longer be slaves and be answering workers. What we have pleaded with those employing us is tell us what 60,000 will do for any family in a month. Once you can break it down, we'll take it. If you convince us that 60,000, 62,000 can pay house rent, get food, and transport you to work, that is what is called a worker. If you can't pay your rent, you can't buy food, and you cannot transport yourself to the place, you are a slave, not a worker. So we are negotiating for workers, not for slaves. We are negotiating for workers, not for refugees. So as long as nobody explains to us what the wage that will take us as workers to and from work, we will not accept what is not a wage.
Kabir Ado Minjibur is the National Vice President of the NLC and the current President of the Medical Health Workers Union of Nigeria. He assured the workers that the fight for minimum wage will continue until implementation is secured.
Our prayer is to consolidate from where our predecessors stopped, to maintain the standard of the union even if we cannot progress further. With this recognition by the zone, it serves as a clarion call for all of us to enable us do the right thing and represent the zone very well.
Sharing the same sentiment of the Labour leaders include the Kano State Deputy Governor and the Speaker of the Jigawa State House of Assembly, who assured that their governments are ready to support the Nigerian workers in any way possible, but asked the workers to conduct their affairs in accordance with the law.
That the former president used his wisdom and vast experience to brought in the African tradition in managing relationships within the union from the lowest to the highest level.
Former President of the NLC Abdulwahid Umar, Ayuba Waba, among other Labour leaders, were in attendance. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News.
The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria has urged the federal government to immediately propose amendments to the Samoa Agreement or withdraw from it if such amendments were not accepted. This is contained in a statement released on Thursday and jointly signed by President of CBCN and Archbishop of Owerri, Lucius Ugoji, and Secretary of CBCN, Bishop of Uromi, Donatus Ogun, respectively. The Catholic bishops said that though we're concerned that Nigeria's civil authorities may not be fully aware of the implications of the nuanced language in the document, which threaten the nation's national sovereignty and values. The bishop said, though the agreement looks innocuous and attractive on the surface, underneath it is carefully blended with postmodern secularistic ideologies that significantly undermine the moral, cultural, and religious beliefs of Nigerian citizens. The CBCN said Nigeria's decision not to sign the Samoa Agreement in November 2023 was consistent with its persistent objection to those issues, adding that its eventual signing has weakened the persistence and consistency of the objection that Nigeria has always had. And to security matters, the Defense Headquarters has said its intelligence has uncovered plans by terrorists affiliated to Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West Africa province to attack the nation's critical infrastructure. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, made this known while briefing newsmen on the operations of the armed forces on Thursday in Abuja. Buba said the military and security agencies responsible for securing critical infrastructure and facilities had in place measures to forestall the attacks. Buba called on citizens to support the military in their fight against terrorists by fishing out collaborators living among them in their communities.
Troops are fighting and Version that adopts various forms across the various theaters. The operations are also complex in the sense that the adversary are mostly not in uniform, and this is deliberately so. They are also embedded within civilian population. This makes it challenging for us to strike without incurring civilian casualties.
Still on security matters, rampaging miscreants wielding dangerous weapons recently besieged major streets of Sabuwar, Ungowar, Koren, Dorowa in Katsina metropolis, harassing and intimidating residents, resulting in the death of one person. The miscreants, locally known as Koraye, also looted shops, burgled houses, and dispossessed residents of monies and other valuables. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
The miscreants, who usually move with arms, have been terrorizing residents, disrupting the peace as well as business activities in the area, especially at night. They recently marched through Koren Dorowa together, nearly forcing motorists to divert routes leading to and from the area. The security committee of the area requested for deployment of security personnel who confronted the hoodlums and successfully disarmed some and killed one. At the moment, a security operative is receiving medical attention at a hospital in Katsina following injuries he sustained during the attacks. Sabor Ungwar Koren Dorowa in Katsina metropolis is one of the notorious spots that have suffered from the activities of miscreants for over a decade, leading to the loss of many lives and destruction of properties worth millions of naira.
Muka je muka liyasin da jami'an tsaro suka ce to unguwar ku dai ce kuke zaune unguwar. Babu wanda zai kazo ya kare muku unguwar nan sai tare da taimakon ku.
We are really facing a serious security challenges in this area. If not for the intervention of security agencies, the situation would have gone out of control. Secondly, the issue of drugs abuse needs to be looked into with all seriousness. As parents and guardians, there is need to aggressively support relevant authorities in that regard.
To cikin hukuncin Allah 'yan sanda sun kawo dauki da wuri.
Irin yadda muka saba zamantakewar mu gaskiya an samu tasgaro.
Because of the activities of the miscreants locally known as Kaurai, many people have relocated from here to other places. Our businesses are no longer thriving. In fact, if I say this is the most terrible community in Katsina metropolis, I'm not lying. So we are praying this situation will end soon.
Ba mu san wane ne ya dauki nauyin su ba, ya ba su makamai suka zo suka halma mutane sakamakon abin da suka faru a halin yanzu.
Security operatives need to be more serious about this development because these boys need to be made to face the wrath of the law. Honestly, they need to reap what they sow, and the earlier this is done, the better, before it gets out of hands. Worried by the ugly situation, residents are appealing to the Decorator's administration to curb the activities of the miscreants and restore lasting peace in the area. The Katsina State Police Command, through the spokesman ASP Sadiq Aliu, confirmed the incident, assuring that security operatives are on the trail of the miscreants with a view to arresting them. Abdullahi Izuma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
To judicial matters, the Kano State High Court has ruled that the trial of the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, and others accused of bribery and misappropriation will continue even in their absence. The state government filed an 8-count charge against Ganduje, his wife Hafsat Umar, Abubakar Bawuro, Umar Abdullahi Umar, Jibrila Muhammad, Lamash Properties Limited, Safari Textiles Limited, and Lasai General Enterprises Limited. The charges involve allegations of bribery, misappropriation, and the diversion of public funds amounting to billions of naira. Ruling on Thursday, Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu dismissed the state government's application for a bench warrant against the defendants. The court had previously, on June 5, granted an order to serve Ganduje and the other defendants through substituted service. Justice Adamu Aliyu adjourned the case until October 23 and 24 for the hearing on the preliminary objection and the main charge. The Court of Appeal in Abuja on Thursday affirmed Ahmad Usman Ododo of the All Progressives Congress as a validly elected governor of Kogi State. Three-member justices of the court in a unanimous judgment held that the Social Democratic Party and its governorship candidate, Murtala Yakubu Ajaka, failed to prove the allegations contained in their petition challenging Ododo's election beyond reasonable doubt as required by law. The appellate court said the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, which sat in Abuja, was right to have expunged the evidence of the first witness called by the petitioners for being hearsay documents. According to the court, the allegation of forgery of documents which Ododo submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission is a pre-election matter which should be handled by the Federal High Court and not the tribunal. Having resolved all the issues raised in the appeal against the appellants, the court dismissed the appeal for lacking in merit and upheld the judgment of the tribunal. It would be recalled that the tribunal had, on May 27, affirmed the victory of Ododo in the November 11, 2023 Kogi State governorship poll. The Adamawa state government has instituted a suit against the federal government before the Supreme Court over revenue distribution from the Federation account. In a statement on Thursday, the Chief Press Secretary to the Adamawa State Governor, Humwashi Wonosiko, said the state is seeking an interpretation of Section 162, subsection 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution regarding the distribution of the revenue from the Federation account. The state argued that the entire sum in the Federation account must be distributed among all levels of government without deductions, except as permitted by law. The state government said it is also seeking a strict interpretation of the Constitution to ensure that revenue distribution is done in a transparent and constitutional manner without arbitrary deductions or withholdings by the federal government. On Thursday, the Supreme Court ruled that the federal government should henceforth pay allocations directly to local government councils from the Federation account. Delivering judgment in the suit, a 7-member panel of justices held that state governments have continued to abuse their powers by retaining and using the funds meant for local government authorities. The Apex Court also ordered the federal government to withhold allocations of local governments governed by unelected officials appointed by the governor. Moving on to more stories. A coalition of Muslim organizations in Nigeria has rallied support for the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, demanding immunity from dethronement and an expansion of his influence. These demands follow moves by the Sokoto State House of Assembly to enact laws regulating the administration of the Sultanate. Habibat Ajayi has more.
The crisis around the Sultanate and its administration was sparked by a bill initiated by the state government aimed at shedding some power and influence of the Sultan. The coalition of Muslim groups say the move has sent shockwaves throughout the community and beyond, stressing that the Sultan's role is not only traditional but also religious and extend beyond Sokoto, encompassing all Nigerian Muslims as the spiritual leader.
We appeal to the Governor Ahmed Ali and his administration to preserve the reverse seat of the Sultan and to avoid any political brigandage that would demean or reduce the influence and authority of Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar, MNI, paving way for the rumored dethronement, which we believe will affect the peace in Sokoto and greatly affect the Muslim Ummah of this nation.
The group clarified that traditional rulers can mediate in the political affairs of the country as long as they have for the welfare and growth of the citizens.
It will be very, very difficult for them to stay idle from societal issues. So most of them have been contributing seriously to the stability, peaceful coexistence of the Nigerian populace as a whole. They have been playing the role as father to all in the society. Unfortunately, when a government comes in and it goes, when another new one comes in, they normally tag them as if maybe they supported the outgone administration, which is not the same.
The group called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene and urge Governor Ahmed Aliyu and his government to halt plans to water down the power and influence of the revered monarch. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Alhaji Jalal Ahmad Arabi, has officially flagged off the commencement of the 2025 Hajj exercise to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This comes as the commission nearly airlifted Nigerian pilgrims back home after the spiritual journey to Mecca, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Sharif Al-Hassan files in this report from Mecca.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has successfully airlifted more than 40,000 Nigerian pilgrims back home out of the 51,000 pilgrims who participated in this year's pilgrimage. This is a very good improvement compared to what was obtainable before, and this has also made the national chairman to officially flag off the commencement of the 2025 Hajj. Empty streets are now what characterized the once bustling city of Mecca with the conclusion of this year's pilgrimage. This is Al-Mansur Road in Mecca. It's a popular street predominantly inhabited by Nigerian pilgrims in the Holy Land. But today, only a few pilgrims can be seen roaming the streets as they anxiously await their airlift back home, Nigeria. The National Hajj Commission, during its post-Hajj meeting in Mecca with critical stakeholders, highlights gains and challenges of the operation so far and how to make it better going forward. The Commission's chairman, Jalal Ahmad Arabi, used the opportunity to officially flag off the commencement of the 2025 Hajj exercise. According to him, this is to enable the Commission and states to fully prepare for the spiritual journey.
Let us take the lessons we learned in 2024, which nearly cost us dearly, to now program ourselves against 2025 with the aim of attaining remarkable success.
Adamawa State's Executive Secretary, Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Commission, Malam Abubakar Salihu, and his counterpart from other states have also translated this message to their intending pilgrims. To them, the earlier, the better.
Alhamdulillah, Adamawa is set. We are ready for Hajj 2025.
Abubakar Salihu says despite challenges, the 2024 Hajj was a success, while thanking his principal, Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintri, for his commitment towards the entire operation.
In the previous years, there were no enough accommodation. There was no feeding, very poorly organized feeding. And there was also poorly organized way of going to throw the pebbles in Jamarat. There was also problem of movement from Arafat to Muzdalifah, and also from Muzdalifah back to Mina. All those have been taken care of. I mean, they were improved. The success story of Hajj 2024 is built on the support of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has faced series of criticism, most especially from state governors who felt the commission has not lived up to expectation. But one thing is for sure, the national chairman, Malam Jalal Arabi, has brought so many changes for the overall development and, of course, welfare of Nigerian pilgrims, most especially having to do away with the major challenges of feeding in Medina and Mashair, Mina, the 10th city. As the 2025 Hajj preparations begins in earnest, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria will be closely monitored how it handles the entire exercise. From Makkah to Makarama, Sharif Al-Hassan, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the activities of NAHCON and Federal Capital Territory Administration Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, their agents and sub-agents, over the lapses observed in the 2024 Hajj exercise. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Mohammed Umar Bio and presented at the plenary on Thursday. The lawmaker, while presenting the motion, condemned the performance of NAHCON and the FCTA Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board in the 2024 Hajj exercise. He reminded the House that the Hajj exercise is important in the life of every Muslim and one of the 5 pillars of Islam. He added about 50,865 Muslim pilgrims across the states in Nigeria were under the care of NAHCON, adding that some of them were not taken care of in terms of welfare, organization, guidance, and monitoring as expected. Bayo noted that despite the huge amount paid by the pilgrims for the 2024 Hajj exercise, NAHCON's 2024 budget allocation, intervention from the federal government to the tune of 90 billion naira and support from government of Saudi Arabia, NAHCON's and FCTA Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board performed below expectation in the 2024 Hajj exercise, especially in Makkah and Mina. He averred that if the poor performance of NAHCON is not investigated with a view to improving future performance, further Hajj exercise for Nigerian citizens may be more complicated and put the entire country in bad light of the Committee of Nations. The Senate has urged the federal government to urgently make emergency palliative and relief provisions available to cushion the effects of the fire incident that occurred at Karu Market in the Federal Capital Territory on the victims. The decision follows a motion moved by Senator Ireti Kingibe, representing the FCT, on the need for safer public spaces. Trust TV's correspondent Sagir Ibrahim brings details.
In a submission, Senator Kingibe revealed that the unfortunate incident occurred on the 27th of June 2024, describing it as an issue of concern, especially due to the attendant losses incurred by those affected. Other contributors re-echoed the need to ensure building safety regulations and adherence.
Further aware that as fire outbreaks in Nigeria have risen to national attention in recent years, causing great loss of economy, loss of lives of our people, as well as destruction of critical sectors of the nation's economy and infrastructure. If this is allowed to continue, we will continue to record huge economic losses.
At least in the capital city of Nigeria, markets should be modernized. And markets should be built to reflect the developing nature of our country and show in the character of the markets, the character of a very organized society.
It's very important that
we look at our safety and hazard procedures in the markets to enhance them so that there will be a check to these menace.
The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, while presiding over plenary, called on the Federal Capital Development Authority and the Abuja Municipal Area Council to consider the plight of those affected as they rebuild the market.
I think the FCT is getting very commercialized, and even the area councils may want to rebuild the market to a very high standard, and thereafter give it out to willing buyer, willing seller.
Also, the Senate resolved to amend Order 8, subsection 2 of its standing rules to allow it to sit from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. during plenary. This followed a debate on motion sponsored by the leader of the Senate, Okpeyemi Bamidele, during Thursday's plenary.
It's important that we walk our talk. If our rules had said 10 a.m. and we had not been able to sit 10 for 10, I think what is most important at this point is that if we say it is 11, please let it be 11 o'clock.
The motion was, however, opposed by Senator Ahmed Lawan.
So if we don't have any reason except that we have to synchronize with the House, I think we need to look at it again. But if we have other reasons that we must change, that will be fine. But if it is just synchronized, the House may have their reasons why they sit at 11 and close at 3.
In his own submission, the Senate President urged that the Senate enters into an executive session as there were other sensitive matters to be considered before the amendment. In the end, the Senate amended Order 8, subsection 2 of its standing rules to allow it sit from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. during plenary in the absence of any other matter.
The amendment of our standing orders to enable us sit between 11 o'clock and 3 p.m. daily. Those in support that we move into committee of the whole, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The clerk of the Senate was then mandated to reprint the Senate standing order with a new amendment effected. Still in the Senate, a bill was introduced seeking to create Tiga, a new state from Kano. Senator Kau Sumaila, representing Kano South, is the sponsor of the bill, which was read for the first time during Thursday's plenary. The legislation seeks to alter the constitution to create the provision of the new state. This is not the first time a lawmaker has proposed creation of new states in the country, with notable ones in recent times like Senator Ned Nwoko proposing the creation of Anyoma State in southeast Nigeria, and also Honorable Ikenga Oguchinyere of the lower chamber, who also proposed the creation of Olu State, also in the southeast. From the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to the south-south region of the country. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara says his administration has started the process of preparing the 2025 budget. Governor Fubara also said the legislative seats of Martin Ameole and his colleagues that were declared vacant on December 13, 2023 will remain so. Governor Fubara spoke when he received a delegation of Eche and Omoma local government areas at the Government House in Port Harcourt.
The governor, who dismissed as mere antics the posturing of the 25 former lawmakers, noted that the ship of governance in the state is sailing on smoothly. Governor Fubara also said his administration has started preparing details of the 2025 appropriation bill with priority placed on education, healthcare and agriculture.
We are not going to rule this state on our knees. We will go standing this way. I'm standing. If it is only being on our knees to move, is the way that will be seen as being loyal. I will walk back my few things that I have here and go and relax in my house comfortably, because it will be a disaster.
In a remark, the OAC Eche, Eze Emmanuel Oporum, said Eche and Omoma people will continue to give full support to Governor Fubara and ensure that his administration succeeds.
On the looming crisis
in the state, I advise that all the sitting 36 states governors should meet and take decision. And this decision should be channeled to the President of Nigeria.
Governor Fubara said his administration is working with the Nigerian police to find lasting solutions to the hydra-headed issue of herdsmen attacks on farmlands and farmers in the area.
Youth from Kwale, the town hosting the Sterling Oil Exploration and Production Company Limited, are protesting the alleged unlawful termination of employment by the oil company in Delta State. The youth took their protest to the government house, Asaba, seeking the governor's intervention on the matter. Jonathan Amai was there and now reports.
The youth, under the aegis of the Niger Delta Youth Movement, besieged Government House, demanding to see the governor. Their anger is the termination of the employment of 270 youths who they allege were replaced with Indians. They are insisting on the restatement of the workers, noting that it is their right to benefit from what is on their land.
And we believe that our amiable governor, the governor that have his children at heart, the deputy governor that have his children at heart, will look into the matter and see that they reinstate the workers, because they did not fight, they did not steal. They just wake up one morning and replace them with Indians.
That's why they said they want to rule over. First thing that they send us out, take so you chase everybody home. Now we date it today, no work, no food, nothing to cater for our children. So now make we come government house, come cry, come meet them. That they don't need us anymore. They refuse to tell us the reason why they drop all of us today. Since last year, October, up till now, they drop her without no reason, no salary, nothing, no payoff, nothing, no good reasonable, there's no good reason that they drop us. So that's why we run down here to our governor to intervene for the issue.
They have their jetty, they have their mud plant, they have their flow station, they have their LPG, where our His Excellency came to commission not quite long. But yet, the youth of Ndokwa, nobody is working in that company. They sack them all and replace them with Indian. Will you imagine? Indian man is the chief security officer in Kwale, Delta State.
Addressing the protesters, the senior policy advisor to the governor, Funke Keme Solomon, assured of government's intervention.
So, it is our belief that the company will do the right thing. So I want to assure you that we will take the letter now immediately from here back to the governor.
The youth include those relieved of their jobs by the company. Jonathan Awaya, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Still in the South-South region, women from Amini Boko, Eguno Gang and Owere communities in Abuja local government area of Rivers State on Wednesday staged a peaceful protest in Amini Boko community against the alleged destruction of their farmlands as a result of oil exploration by Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited in the three communities. According to the women, despite being host communities to the company, they lack basic amenities like potable water, electricity, as well as healthcare facilities, adding that their situation has been worsened by the destruction of farmlands through oil spills. Trustee Yves Friday Bimoboe Peter has more.
The women during the protest lamented that their means of livelihood have been destroyed as they can no longer work on their farmlands due to oil spillage. They call on the state government as well as Shell Petroleum Development Company Limited to come to their aid.
See, waiting all my sweat I plan for my children to pay their school fees, but look at how water don't destroy everything finish. If I put this cassava now, nothing day inside. Don't rotten finish. May the concert to loss. May the concert to loss for waiting lost. Prepare.
The thing when the happen here be say, Shell don't wish us well. They don't block the canal. They don't block the flow of water. Water used to flow to the river, and now the water is flowing back to our farms. Hunger, you can see. Oh, you can see this. The cassava don't rotten. It never reach up roots. And and it don't rot, cocoa, everything, granite, plantain, everything. It don't rot finish. That is why we are here crying the shell.
Some of the protesters displayed the colored and polluted water they drink on a daily basis, lamenting that despite the adverse implication on their health, they have no other options due to the lack of potable water.
We don't even benefit, even the light, nothing we see. Water, nothing. And now, even the farm that we are doing to get something to eat, nothing we benefit. Now water don't come cover everything, spoil all our farms. Water, they don't already pollute the water. The water no good again. The oil don't spoil the water. So now, we just dey manage it. Anybody where they pregnant, if he want deliver, now for native we dey go. Because we no get hospital.
I go work for farm. The water don't spoil. The oil don't spoil the cassava freeze. I don't know how I go do. All my body don't finish because for work. I no get money. I no get light. I no get everything. All my body don't go down. So now I make they cry, God, may God give me with my village. Make it a sell. Come give me do what they find and with my people, with my children and the war. See the water. See the water. Oil don't spoil them. See the water.
Some of the protesters carried different placards with inscriptions like "Shall come and pay us damages for crops," among others. From Aminikbuku community, Friday, Ibimobowe Peter, Trust TV News.
It's time now to join Chiamaka and Nendu for the business news.
And this is the business news segment. My name is Chiamaka Nendu. Let's start off with news coming from Nigeria's oil sector, where Nigeria's average daily crude oil production in the month of June rose marginally to 1.276 million barrels. And this represents an increase of just 25,000 barrels daily from 1.251 million barrels per day, recorded in the month of May. And this is according to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC's monthly oil market report for June 2024. And meanwhile, Russia dethroned the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as the largest oil producer among the OPEC Plus cartel, with average oil production of 9.14 million, while Saudi Arabia produced 8.93 million barrels per day. And away from that now, the prevalence of fraud and forgery in Nigeria's payment system has shown a significant shift in the first quarter of 2024, with the point on sale, that is POS transactions, experiencing the highest increase in fraudulent activities. According to the Fraud and Forgeries Report of Nigerian banks for the first quarter of 2024, by the Financial Institutions Training Center, POS fraud cases surged by 31.12% in the first quarter of 2024. In the fourth quarter, of 2023, there were 2,683 reported cases of fraud associated with POS terminals. However, this number escalated to 3,518 cases by the first quarter of 2024. And moving on now, we did see the Nigerian equities market end Thursday's trading in the bullish sentiment. We did see the all-share index down by 0.33%, with the all-share index at 99,802.08. The market capitalization also ended at 56.5 trillion, and the volume of trade at 935.148 million, while the value of trade also ended the day at 11.839 billion naira. We did see 8,160 deals exchange hands on the floor of the exchange on Thursday. And now to the top gainers, where Link Assurance topped the gainers, charting up by 9.80%. DAC Communications also was up by 9.62%, while Vitafoam also ended in the gainers chart, up by 7.61%. And now to the losers chart, where we did see KJ Hotels top the losers chart and down by 9.29%. Honeywell flour also ended on the losers chart as well and down by 8.41%. Seplat also is right there on the losers chart and down by 8.30%. And moving on now to the top trades and market movers, with Transcorp Nigeria topping the chart at 301 million shares and Sterling Bank followed at 33.3 million shares. We also do have First Bank of Nigeria Holdings at 23.2 million shares. And right about now, let's see how the global market ended Thursday's trading and what the Naira exchanged with other foreign currencies today across the market. And now to the oil markets, where we did see the oil markets, or the oil price of oil rather, rise on Thursday. And this is as inflation eased, bolstering the hopes that the Federal Reserve in the United States will cut interest rate later this year. Inflation, as measured by the Consumer Price Index, dropped by 0.1% from May to June, putting the 12-month rate at 3%, near the lowest level in more than 3 years. Well, that's it for the business news segment. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Chiamaka Enendu. We'll take it away from Nigeria now. Kenyan President William Ruto on Thursday dismissed of his cabinet ministers and promised to form a new government that will be lean and efficient following weeks of protests over high taxes and poor governance. In a televised address, the president also dismissed the Attorney General and said ministries would be run by their permanent secretaries. Ruto said he made the move after listening to the people, adding that he would form a broad-based government after consultations. Let's now join Adeniyi Ajishafe for the latest in sports.
Secretary General of the Nigerian Olympic Committee, Tunde Popola, says there is no cause for alarm ahead of the 12th July final judgment by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, on allegations by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, that Nigeria is not compliant with the anti-doping code. 15 days before the 2024 Olympics in Paris, the fate of Nigerian athletes is hanging in a balance, as the unfavorable judgment will see Nigeria and the athletes lose some privileges at the game and subsequent editions. Popola, however, allayed the fears, noting that the NOC has been able to put things in order ahead of Friday's judgment. Two officials of the Ministry of Sport Development and other agencies of the government, as well as 3 international lawyers hired to defend the case, are said to be in Lausanne, Switzerland, for the hearing. The allegations of non-compliance and the consequences are expected to take effect on Nigeria immediately after CAS makes its ruling on June 12. If Nigeria is found guilty, the punishment recommended by WADA's Compliance Review Committee states that the country's flag will not be flown at the Paris Olympic Games and other competitions. This means Nigerian athletes will not compete under the country's name and code, and if they win any medal, there will be no room for Nigeria's anthem or flag to be hoisted, while Nigeria will also be ineligible to host any major sporting event until restatement conditions are met. And in Scrabble, the Nigerian Scrabble Federation (NSF) has named 12 players to represent Nigeria at the forthcoming World Youth Scrabble Championship in Sri Lanka. The team of 8 boys and 4 girls, to be captained by John Wabuzo, was made public by the national youth team handler Samuel Iromosele. Team captain John Wabuzo won gold for Edo State during the 7th National Youth Games held in Asaba Delta State. Another strong member of Team Nigeria Scrabble to the World Youth Scrabble Championship is Abdulkudus Aliu, who led Kwara State to sweep the top honor at the games. Xavier Nancy is the youngest member of the team at 9 years, while 17-year-old Sophia Boluwatife is the oldest player. Join Wabuzo, Hawa Abdullahi, Sophia Ekeruche, and Michelle Ekekerego are the girls who will defend the Nigerians' colours during the World Championship. Coach of the team, Samuel Ebromosele, believes they are capable of finishing top of the medal table in September as they resume camping before heading to Sri Lanka. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
That's about the size of our package tonight on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs and documentary. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night.